What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I'm going to play some of my week 5 highlights in the background so you don't get bored and click off this video. You'll see that I'm obviously still a bot, but these are some of my best plays this week. So it's been about 5 weeks since I first started playing Fortnite on PC. It definitely has been a struggle, but I think the first 2 to 3 weeks were really tough. I think I'm now getting the hang of it a little bit. This is probably because of my muscle memory is starting to kick in. During the first couple of weeks on PC, I experienced some pretty bad forearm and wrist pain. It finally went away after week 4 with some stretching and icing. If you're switching to PC for the first time, I would make a habit of constantly stretching your wrists and hands, otherwise you risk getting carpal tunnel or something crazy like that. I'll link a video of different stretches that I did in the description. Now that I have most of my keybinds down to muscle memory, it's just a matter of using them at a higher speed. I'm still pretty slow, but I think I've improved since week 1. Building has been the hardest thing to learn on PC by far. I could barely do ramp rushes during week 1. It felt like it took forever to build that muscle memory so that I could do it in a game. It took me about 3 weeks to where I was finally able to use it in game. This past week I've been grinding in creative, trying to learn different building techniques that I once knew how to do on the PS4. It took me a while, but I felt like it came easier than ramp rushes since I now had muscle memory to help me learn them quicker. The very first retake I started learning was the one that FaZe Sway always uses. This one is great because it protects you almost 100% of the time as you retake the high ground. You are almost always covered by your builds. The second retake I learned over the course of a week was also a Sway retake. This one is good because you're coming out of your double ramp at a different angle, which can usually catch your opponent off guard. I usually do a 90 or 2 after this retake just in case. A lot of you already know about these, but I'm just sharing my progress as well as informing those who don't know about them. I spent more time trying to get better at box fighting than high ground retakes. While retakes are important, they just aren't as useful for me at the moment with my current skill level. This technique of editing the wall, then boxing my opponent in, then trapping him took me about 3 days to learn the muscle memory. I still make mistakes, but I could probably perform it in game by now. The only thing I need to watch out for with this one is if my opponent is right next to my wall and pickaxing it, when I go to place the ramp, he'll probably phase through the ramp and shotgun me in the face. So this technique is great if my opponent is a little further away from the wall. This technique I learned during week 5 as well. I edit the floor and the cone above me, take a quick shot at my opponent who is trying to take my builds above me, reset both edits, and edit out the back of my box to try to take the high ground. This can be combined with any retakes such as the ones previously mentioned, but at my current skill level, a simple ramp edit will be most effective most of the time. The last technique I tried to learn was tunneling. Pretty much everyone knows what tunneling is. It's useful during endgame scenarios when you need to get to the circle and protect yourself. My floor bind is E and my edit bind is R, so my index finger has a lot of work to do when tunneling, so it took me a few days to build a muscle memory for this technique. Now I'm going to show you guys some plays that I made mistakes on and what I could do differently and how to improve, since that is what this channel is mostly about. In this clip, my opponent rushes at me. I probably had time to shoot him down, but instead I boxed myself up. That gives him time to take the high ground and also hints to him that I'm not a confident player. Boxing up is not necessarily a bad thing, but it does put you on the defensive, which puts you at the disadvantage. I try to edit out, but I get caught on the ramp. At this point, I didn't have my crouch button down, so I couldn't crouch. My opponent takes my wall, and instead of editing my ramp that is under me, I wait for his edit. This isn't a bad play, but I probably should have edited through my ramp since I didn't have shield. He makes the edit and I get a tack shot on him, but then I pull out my SMG, which was a huge mistake. I should have kept my shooting with my tack, considering how close range we were, and ended with me getting one pumped in the mouth. In this clip, my opponent was a couple of floors above me. Instead of going directly up at him, I probably should have gone up on the other side of the building since I had enough mats to do so. I tried to put a floor above me, but for some reason my mouse click didn't register or the camera angle was off. Either way, I panic jumped and tried to one pump him. I got caught on the structures and went for a second pump shot, but his tack had a higher rate of fire than my pump. I should have pulled out my SMG in this situation or built a wall after shooting my pump. So now that you see how bad I am, I'm going to end on a good note and show some more of my better plays in week 5. And if you aren't subscribed and you want to see a bot get better over time, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and if not, no worries. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.